integral part of continuing to play music.
Protect your ears from utter boredom, to promote this podcast on every forum, to denounce the evils of trolls and noobs, to extend our reach, please comment on YouTube. Nathan.
Justin.
Yeah, that was your line. You killed it. You killed it. That's what they call chemistry. Like, I didn't have to tell you your line. You just knew it. This is Silph Radio, a Pokemon podcast. I'm Nathan Kappesser. This is my great friend Justin Addison, back on the podcast for the first time.
Me out, that's right.
Back for the first time. Go check him out in the Squirtle episode. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad to have you back, man. It's been a long time coming.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here.
Silph Radio, of course, is a Pokemon-centered podcast, all about Pokemon discussion. It's for immature audiences that are old enough to hear bad words and inappropriate jokes and not take this too seriously, but at the same time take Pokemon way more seriously than it should ever be taken by anybody. So,
yeah.
As usual, I let the guest choose the topic. What was it you wanted to talk about today, Justin?
I wanted to talk about my favorite criminal organization in the Pokemon world, Team Rocket.
Not just in general?
Not just in general.
So who's your favorite criminal organization just in general?
Well, I can't tell you about that.
Right?
This is the internet.
The fuzz is listening.
In danger.
Team Rocket. I fucking love Team Rocket as well. They're probably just my favorite criminal organization in general. I'm not a big fan of criminal organizations. But
there are forums for mine. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, Team Rocket once again taking over the airwaves. I thought about maybe trying to do a little homage to Gold and Silver and the Goldenrod City radio thing, but yeah, I figured fuck it. I don't want to put that much effort into this.
Fair enough.
So Team Rocket, or as they're known in Japan, the Rocket Gang.
Woo.
Now, some clarifications of terms. We're talking about, of course, the criminal organization. This isn't an episode about Jesse and James. That is synonymous with Team Rocket for a lot of people. So we will do an episode about Jesse and James sometime. But I'd like to bring up, too, this is a point of contention between me and Justin. It's my opinion that Jesse and James are video game canon because of their appearance in Yellow.
Oh, I forgot about this disagreement. Yeah. It's a hard balance for me because I don't really know what to consider Yellow anymore.
Yeah.
If I think about it.
Whether or not it's canon.
Yeah, is Yellow canon? Is it to me, it's mostly a retelling because it's not red and blue and green. It's you're experiencing those events in a slightly different way again.
But
it's not.
Every Pokemon game version is like that.
I guess that's true.
Have you heard this theory that's been going around?
The one that came out of the Alpha and Omega games?
Yeah. Is it called Delta Episode?
Yeah, the Delta Episode. It's like
fascinating shit.
Yeah, so it's basically that there are alternate universes that represent each iteration of the game generations.
Yes.
So there's your basic Ruby and Sapphire universe. Or I guess it actually encapsulates everything from before.
I think it's centered on the idea that there's a universe where mega evolutions don't exist. And so that kind of is saying everything from the previous games still happened in the timeline, only it was a slightly different universe in this one where mega evolutions existed. But like you can stretch that to the individual. I mean, you're familiar with multiple worlds theory, right? The idea that there's a universe.
I'm a Marvel fan.
Okay. Yeah, there's a universe out there for every possible scenario. So there's just infinite universes. Infinite worlds theory, I think, is what it's called. That even accounts for the basic idea that every time a Pokemon game is released, A, there's two different versions in which the slightly different versions of the same thing is happening.
They address that directly, actually.
B, every single person, you play your Pokemon game, I play my Pokemon game. They're all like their own pocket universes. And beyond that, how well it works, I mean, since me and you were children, and some of our friends have had our own little ideas of like, this is my character and this is my character's story. And our character's stories will overlap, but there's always slight differences in like what we consider to be legit. So it's almost fits into that. Like there's the Justin's character's universe. There's the like it's so. At first, when I heard this theory, I was like, yeah, whatever, fap. But then I really started getting into it, and I'm like, wow, I like this a lot.
Yeah, after the Delta series, you meet the like head of like either Team Aqua or Team Magma, whichever one you didn't fight, and he goes on this whole hypothetical thing like, who knows, maybe in another world you fought me and Kyogre instead of that guy and whatever the other one's name is, Jesus.
That's also in Jesus. Jesus is in this? Oh my God, it gets so much deeper.
Groudon.
Jesus is a legendary Pokemon? That's
it's
amazing.
true.
There's Pokemon Ascension now.
Oh, God.
This also would account for probably the biggest pet peeve of mine in trying to reconcile a video game canon, which is that in black and white, there's a world map of the continent, and it's different depending on which version you're in because there's a forest in one place and a city in the same place.
Right.
And that's always bugged me because I'm like, okay, well, how about just in regular Pokemon canon? What's there? Well, I guess they're two different pocket universes.
I guess then in that case, I couldn't argue against Jesse and James being canon in the games.
Oh my God.
Because Yellow is its own pocket universe.
Amazing.
You win.
It's all settled.
After all these years. Goddamn.
Did you know, I didn't know this until I was just like Netflix browsing, because I've finally hopped on the Netflix wagon. It doesn't have most of what I want, but I had to watch Orange is the New Black, so I didn't have another choice. Pirate Bay was down.
Fair enough. Oh, I mean, as long as we're talking about criminal organizations, there's always Kick-Ass.
Oh, yeah. While I was Netflix browsing, I saw, did you know when Black and White came out, for the anime, you know how they do like new movies whenever the new games come out? Mm-hmm. They did two different versions of the same movie, a black version and a white version, with slight differences. And no, that doesn't mean that there was like one version where they were like, yo, these Pokemon be like crazy as shit, man.
Ash has a goatee and a leather jacket instead of his usual. No, that's like one of the coolest things they could do. It sucks with the movies because they're animated well and they do cool things like that. It does such a better job of presenting a story than any episode of Pokemon, but it's still a kid's movie and it's still based in the atrocious like anime universe. And I as badly as I want to watch them, I can't because they drive me crazy.
Maybe they can make a new Pokemon Origins. Maybe we'll get more Pokemon Origins.
That would be amazing.
I don't know. I won't hold my breath, but it's like, why wouldn't you? Everyone loved it.
Right.
So, Team Rocket.
Yeah.
Basically, they're this criminal organization that's based in the Kanto and Johto regions. Their oath, steal Pokemon for profit, exploit Pokemon for profit. All Pokemon exist for the glory of Team Rocket.
Oh, that's so bad. That's so much better than, like, make the planet ground or make the planet one ocean. Like, what a joke.
But the more we talk about them, I don't know, there might be more to Team Rocket's goals than their motto implies.
How do you mean?
We're gonna dig in. We got to start at the first layer. So on the surface layer, they specialize in the illegal Pokemon trade. Well, on the surface layer, they actually run a reputable casino. But at least they did. They no longer do. What they're currently doing is actually up to speculation at this point. But they specialize in illegal Pokemon trade, capturing and stealing rare, strong, and otherwise desirable Pokemon. And they do have aspirations to control the world, both economically and through force with their powerful Pokemon.
I sort of always saw them as sort of the mob in Pokemon, like the Mafia. Not just because Giovanni's an Italian name, but also because they run a casino as a front. And they like an illegal trade.
There's a lot of Yakuza parallels too.
I mean, Yakuza, Mafia, almost the same thing anyways, right?
Yeah.
Is doing this podcast gonna get me fucking... Oh, jeez, I'm gonna be sleeping with the fishies, sleeping with the Magikarps.
That would be a movie that I would totally pay to see, though. The Mafia versus the Yakuza.
Oh, shit.
That'd be amazing.
It would be like a really cheesy B like action movie.
Like very stylized.
Yeah.
But with a good enough budget for some cool effects and fights.
In my head, I'm just seeing like Mafia versus Yakuza. Like all those really bad like this thing versus zombies movies. Like,
I'm seeing it like one of the Grindhouse films, like a Quentin Tarantino or Machete.
Oh, sure. Yeah. With like a mock sort of like old school feel to it or something.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So in the Team Rocket hierarchy, the foot soldiers, if you will, the lower members are the Rocket Grunts. Jesse and James are Grunts, and they generally wear uniforms. Their discretion is not priority with Team Rocket.
Yeah.
Total black, big red R on their chest, black hats, boots, gloves. Generally showing up and ruining your day with a bunch of poison-type Pokemon. They don't ruin your day by beating you. They're just a pain in the ass.
Sometimes there are so many. It's just like running the fucking gauntlet of irritating, like, nothing Pokemon.
Yeah, they generally have Sandshrews, Sandslash, Raticate, Rattata, Zubats, Golbat, Ekans, Machop, Machoke, Drowsy, Hypno, Cubone, Marowak, Coughing, Wheezing, Venonat, Grimer, Muck, Oddish, and Gloom.
That was a pretty comprehensive list.
Yeah. We don't fuck around. All we do is fuck around.
Yeah, it's true.
We don't fuck around when it comes to fucking around. There's also rocket scientists that... This is kind of... I guess they probably delve into it a lot more in the manga.
Oh, yeah.
But there's not a whole lot really about what Team Rocket is using scientists for. And we're going to get into that the deeper we get into this, too. But the scientists generally have also poison types, but also electric types. They got like Magnemites, Magnetons, Mucks, Electrodes, Weezings, Dittos, Porygons.
Sciencey Pokemon. I wonder if your role in a company or in a group really does designate, like, these are the sort of Pokemon I should have. Like, does every scientist really want a Voltorb or a Porygon or like a Ditto? Or is it just part of their contract?
Maybe in the Pokemon universe, people never really grow out of that like high school like clique phase where it's like, I wear black and listen to metal only, and all my friends do too. Yeah. So like, there's nobody in the Pokemon universe that doesn't have a favorite Breakfast Club character.
Right. And in the Pokemon universe, the Breakfast Club movie, each
so much cooler.
Yeah, they had their one specific Pokemon that perfectly represented their,
can we?
Cliche. Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
Why didn't we think about this ahead of time?
Okay, Bender,
the criminal kid.
Yes.
Judd
Nelson.
Okay. Maybe who's the cool Pokemon?
Scrafty?
Oh yeah. I can see that. Scrafty, or the littler one, the wannabe. God, I wish it hasn't been so long since I talked about Pokemon. I'm forgetting all the names.
Okay, Molly Ringwald. Something predominantly really pretty.
Yeah.
And high class.
Like something from the Ralts line, like in between Ralts and Gardevoir. What's its name?
That would be appropriate. Jeez, it would help if I just had a Pokedex strategy guide here to look through.
So embarrassing.
Okay, here's the deal. We're not going to do this now.
Yeah, let's do it later.
But we're going to come back on a future episode with full teams for the Breakfast Club.
Perfect.
Deal. It's a deal. Okay, but for now, back to Team Rocket. So in the first generation, they controlled the Celadon Game Corner in Celadon City in Kanto, which was at the time known as the Rocket Game Corner. As we said, discretion Not a priority.
Also, discretion clearly not a priority because of the sign, the poster they have hanging in the game corner. That's
what did it say again?
Something like there is no secret button.
Yes.
We are not hiding anything, and this sign is clearly not a way to hide the button to the secret lab that does not exist underneath this game corner.
Now, I think, man, I have a theory that some of that is intentional. We're going to get more and more into this the deeper we get into Team Rocket. I keep teasing at it. But I think it's possible that maybe Giovanni wants Team Rocket to be seen as just organized crime. You know, we're just making money. Our motto is we just are for profit. Everything's about money. That's all we're doing. Nothing else to see here.
Interesting.
Oh, there's no secret button right there that leads to a secret criminal hideout.
Right. Okay, I like that. Like a double fake.
So, the Celadon Game Corner, of course, is this casino-type place where people come to win coins that they can exchange for prizes, including rare Pokemon like Scyther, Pinsir, Dratini, Porygon. So, my question for you, Justin, how does it feel knowing your Dratini was most likely stolen, pried from the hands of its loving trainer?
Right. Yeah, I was just, that was just in my head. Like, when I was a kid, I was just like, cool, I can get a Porygon. But now I think about it, they definitely stole those.
You're the real pocket monster.
Or created, oh. That's an interesting...
You think they created it? So the scientists were up there with action replays and Game Sharks making Porygons?
Oh, no, I don't know. Porygon? I don't know what your feelings are on Porygon.
What do you mean?
Can you make more Porygon? If they're like the result of like some sort of digital thing.
Well, scientists did create Porygon, didn't they? We'll do a Porygon episode real soon, too.
Yeah, let's do that.
That's what we'll do.
Porygon.
We'll do a Porygon episode, and in the Porygon episode, we're going to give the Breakfast Club their teams.
Perfect.
It's a deal.
Okay, so anyways, yeah, keep going about this. And also, I'd like to point out that they're always walking around, you know what I mean? Team Rocket members, they're never in disguise. They're always, like, in their uniforms, just, like, out in the town, not hiding anywhere. Especially in Celadon.
Also, take into account that when you're playing the games, everything's just frozen in this stasis, like this static moment, this static, like, 10-second loop. This guy's going to be walking back and forth down the lane forever, eternally. That Team Rocket member is going to be standing there forever, eternally. And no one actually does that. So it's... Maybe they do have a little bit more discretion, that maybe they're not just always in the street.
True. But it's mostly representative.
Yeah, because your character caught them in the streets. And they maybe they do, though. Maybe they also have they must have some type of influence on, like, town governments and city governments and stuff. I mean, Giovanni runs the Viridian City Gym.
Right, like a presence. But I also don't think he's recognized as the head of Team Rocket.
No, he's not.
The gym leader.
But that's signifying that Team Rocket must have some pull in, like, league. Whether or not the league runs, town governments is still kind of up to contention.
Right, but he's a gym leader. Don't, I don't know, what do they say? Don't get it twisted. Like, Giovanni's a badass trainer. So, like, he could very well have just become the gym leader of Viridian.
Yes, but because he is in that position of power...
Oh, I see. He's using the other way.
Yeah, he may have pull in, governmental affairs.
Interesting.
They ran several other operations, including grave robbing for Cubone skulls, fossil trafficking, and infamous siege on Silph Co., the company that provides funding for this podcast, to steal the plans for the Master Ball prototype.
Pretty badass.
Now, this is where it starts getting a little deeper. They wanted to steal the Master Ball prototype. On the surface level, nothing too weird about that. Why wouldn't they? They're trying to capture Pokemon and steal Pokemon from people, being able to manufacture Pokeballs that don't fail, or at least have such an infinitesimal fail ratio, that would be useful.
Right.
But there's another prototype that they were after from the Silph company as well. Do you remember what it was? The Silph Scope.
Oh, it was the Silph Scope. Okay, yeah.
Silph Scope is used so that you can see and capture ghost Pokemon.
Right.
They wanted ghost Pokemon, and they wanted the ability to be able to capture a very powerful Pokemon instantly.
Right. Where are you headed with this?
They may be after Mewtwo.
Oh, yeah, that's what yeah.
So,
Oh, if they have ghost Pokemon, taking down Mewtwo would be easier.
and it is still feasible that's like, okay, well, they want powerful Pokemon. They want to take over. Why wouldn't they want Mewtwo? But
Right.
I don't know. It's also like they're clearly not just for profit. They also have aspirations, including global dominance. They have political aspirations.
Right.
So I don't know. I think there's more going on. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think there is.
I mean, yeah, but it's easy to see it as just a pretty straightforward power grab, right?
Yes, I think that aspect maybe isn't as frequently explored. Like, what is Giovanni's, psychological profile? What are his goals? What's going on here? Like,
Right.
I think he is trying to run a political empire for whatever reasoning. I think that is the primary thing, not stealing Pokemon and making money off them. That's one way of securing power and funding their operation. And it's also, I think, a front and a red herring.
Ah. I mean, as long as we're talking about him briefly, I do want to mention how fantastic he is as a character in the manga. Like, just in direct regards to what you were saying, before I go into it deeper later on, he's this guy who's really, really good at what he does, but he's also just at heart like a bad dude, and he wants to, it doesn't matter what Team Rocket's goal is at the time, he just wants to be like running them and doing bad shit. I think that's really cool. Such a straightforward, like, badassness.
I'm a hood rat. I do hood rat shit.
That's it. I wonder what his history is.
But Giovanni and his criminal organization is eventually taken down and defeated by the child prodigy Red and his Pokemon.
Yeah, boy.
Red exposed the Viridian City gym leader that we were just talking about as the leader of this massive organization. After being defeated, Giovanni vowed to disband Team Rocket, but really he just sized down and went into hiding. More discreet operations, and the more we talk about Giovanni too, I think it's gonna work right into what I'm saying here, that there's more going on. But a few years later, Team Rocket actually regrouped, awaiting the return of their leader, like almost like they're a cult or something.
Right.
They really had faith in this dude, and even the team didn't know what was going on with Giovanni. So they reformed in Johto. They started off pillaging the Slowpoke population in and around Azalea Town by cutting off their tails, which sold really well in the black market. They were a delicacy, right?
Uh-huh.
That's fucked up. So is that like the monkey brain thing, like where it's like...
I mean, yeah, almost anything if you think about it.
Horrible rich people do this, like...
Yeah, or like rhino horns ground down for like different... I don't remember what the word is right now.
Yeah. There's no sport in that. It takes a Slowpoke 5 seconds to react.
Yeah, right. You'd think they're just slaughtering all these. Not slaughtering. They're not slaughtering the Slowpoke.
But the Slowpoke can't evolve if their tail gets cut off.
Oh, true.
Because the cloister needs to clamp onto their tail.
Whoa, good point.
Oh, but wait, you think they
or
could...
their head, right?
Yeah, I was about to say they could still evolve to a Slowking.
Yeah, so not all is lost, but I feel like we shouldn't be making excuses.
The Slowpoke will rise up as a nation of kings. Their major operation, though, in Generation 2, Gold and Silver, is to take over the Goldenrod City radio tower, this big heist, to emit sound waves that brainwash Pokemon in order to instigate evolution in the Magikarp in the Lake of Rage, which is a lake full of Magikarp, turn them into Gyarados, and that's just bad for everyone. Hood rat shit. But the team is, once again, defeated by a child, as is Giovanni. All right, so Giovanni, we've been talking about him for a while here. The self-proclaimed strongest trainer, as he's now known. In Japan, his name's Sakaki, which is a sacred tree in Shinto. In English, his name's Giovanni, which is the Italian equivalent of John, which means a gift from God.
Ooh.
So there might be some type of spiritual imagery, or I don't know. It's interesting.
It's like a representation of something really important.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
His birthday is August 1st, just so you know, in case you want to celebrate Giovanni's birthday with your friends.
Happy B-Day, Gio.
Well, it's not August, but...
Right, okay.
According to the anime, his mother was the founder of Team Rocket, Madame Boss. He is referred to in the strategy guide for Red and Blue as a regional boss of Team Rocket, but by Gen 2, he's totally explicitly the ultimate leader.
Right.
I don't know. This could mean that he took Team Rocket over. What do you think? Do you think Giovanni founded Team Rocket or that he rose in the ranks and took it over?
That's an interesting idea. I pretty much base all of my opinions on the world based on what happens in the manga.
I base all my opinions on I only listen to metal and wear black.
Oh, okay.
and do hood rat shit.
I only watch Fox News and listen to Glenn Beck's radio show. Anything else is false. But no, I don't know. I think that's the coolest thing I've ever heard to come from the show, because it is an awesome concept, imagining Giovanni's mom as this super badass lady that started an entire criminal organization.
Right. I haven't actually seen the episodes. I stopped watching a long time ago, but so I read.
That's cool.
Speaking of his family, he also has a son.
Yes, he does.
Who would be Silver, right? The rival in Gold and Silver.
Mm-hmm.
He totally hates his father because he abandoned him after losing to Red and just went into seclusion, so he totally has a grudge against Team Rocket. Giovanni's been missing since the events of Gold and Silver, but he did make an appearance in Unova at the Pokemon World Tournament in Black 2 and White 2.
He does also make an appearance in sort of a secret ending in Heart Gold Soul Silver, where Celebi takes some flashbacks.
Yes, and it shows what happened between him and Silver. He specializes in ground-type Pokemon. Like we said, he runs the Viridian City Gym, gives people the Earth Badge. His known Pokemon, according to the games, are Onix, Rhyhorn, Rhyperior, Golem, Marowak, Sandslash, Kangaskhan, Nidoking, Nidoqueen, Dugtrio, Persian, Haunchcrow, Garchomp, Crocodile, Gliscor, Hippowdon, Tauros, Gengar, and fucking Moltres, though the last three are only in Pokemon Stadium, which might not be canon. According to Pokemon Origins, he had a Charmander as a child, and according to the Pokemon Zensho manga, he had a Machamp ever since he was a child. According to the trading card game, which probably isn't canon, he also has a Gyarados and a Machamp. I want to say, too, thinking about the Origins anime, the showdown with Giovanni is fucking phenomenal. I love it. I love the interaction. I love when he offers him the gym badge, and he's just like, no, I don't want a fucking badge from the leader of Team Rocket. Get that shit out of here. Pretty dope.
Red so bad.
Other notable members, there were the 4 executives that sort of took over the Johto installation of Team Rocket while they were awaiting Giovanni's return.
Mm-hmm.
There was Archer. He was the temporary leader. He didn't believe that Giovanni had been defeated until Red shows up, shows him the Earth Badge, whoops his ass. At that point, he comes to terms with it, disbands Team Rocket, but searches for Giovanni to restore their glory. There was Ariana. She was Archer's second in command. Petrel, he was like their master of disguise. He actually disguised himself as Giovanni for a short time. Looked like a cross between Fred Durst and Shaggy from Scooby-Doo with a purple mohawk. There was Proton, who was supposed to be like the scariest and cruelest member of Team Rocket. Something about him, reading that and looking at his official Ken Sugimori artwork, reminds me of a Clockwork Orange. Oddly enough, I don't know if that's intentional, but I look at his character and the way he's looking over his shoulder and shit, and I could see if you just draw the little lines under his eyes.
Even his hair kind of comes out in that way.
Yeah.
I can see that. Also, speaking of Ken Sugimori art and hairstyles, can we take a second look at Ariana?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mention I like your new haircut.
Yeah.
Very, very Japanese of you.
Ooh, what?
Nothing. I'm joking because the listeners can't see you.
True, I have a Pokemon haircut. No, I don't.
Purple and it sticks up and places.
It takes many hours in the morning.
Very pointy.
No, but going back to Ariana, can we look at her red hair, which is styled pretty significantly like Silver's hair?
Oh my God, you're right.
Never really. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And she does look a little older. You could consider her to be about Giovanni's age. It's never addressed in anything ever.
No,
but
I've never even heard fan speculation about that, but you're fucking right.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of I mean, not a lot that points to it. It's literally just her hairstyle, but that's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, dude. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence. Her hair is styled similar. Maury! Maury!
We need a test.
She is the mom, Maury!
I'm telling you.
Look at her hair!
She denies it, though. I don't really know. I don't know how that works. But that's like an interesting point, right? Now we get to like my favorite instance of Team Rocket, or my favorite instance of anything Pokemon related, which is the Pokemon Special or Pokemon Adventures manga.
Yeah, it's
which like
Pocket Monsters Special in Japan, right?
Excuse me, yeah, Pocket Monsters Special or or Pokemon Adventures. It doesn't Pokespee.
It's Pokemon, not Pokemon.
God damn it.
I kid. I say Pokemon. It's easier. What bothers me, it's not like Pokemon, but Pokemon always sounds weird to me. I'm like, just say Pokemon or Pokemon. It's not Pokemon. Mm-hmm. But I'll pick my battles because Pokemon has to die. Anyway, moving on.
It's like...
The manga. Back to the manga.
So the manga is like really, it does such a good job of taking the games and just like exploding them outward and giving them like a bit more depth. My favorite thing, it's not really my favorite because it's horrible, but in the manga, Rocket is actually an anagram for...
Are you serious? I had no idea.
Yeah. Raid on the city, comma, knock out, comma, evil tusks. What the hell?
Evil tusks?
I'm sure it's like a translation like thing. They had to come up with something, but like raid on the city, comma, knock out, comma, evil tusks. So
kill every trainer.
I think I like their motto a lot better, the one you mentioned earlier. But it's still funny. Yeah.
How about real organized crime? Kill every trainer.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's a lot better. What? I mean, it's a lot darker. just kill them.
The manga is notably darker than any other instance of Pokemon. There's a few scenes where Pokemon die and Arbok gets cut in half or something. And there's like Giovanni threatens to have his Nidoking impale Red with his horn, and like it gets pretty intense. I do enjoy the manga a lot.
The like general like intensity of it on that level, it kind of calms down a little bit, but it never really stops being like way more serious. That's for sure. For example, the group is like, they're definitely motivated in the same ways that they are in the game, for profit, for power, but they go about it all a bit more intensely. They spend a lot more time like experimenting on Pokemon and stuff like that, which leads to some pretty fucking cool things. Like Red's Eevee is the result of an experiment. It can transform into each of the 3 first Eevee evolutions, so Jolteon, Vaporeon, Flareon, at will, and then it like goes back.
Which is interesting. Very Digimon of them.
Yeah. I mean, a story device.
Yeah, there are some things that a lot of people would have a problem with, like, if you, for example, showed up to like a role play or something, and you were like, my character has an Eevee that can turn into any of the Eevee, it'd be like, all right, dude, grow the fuck up.
But I just kind of look at it is a manga, and like there are certain rules within that sort of world, regardless of like the source material. In fact, like their big goal through all of the first arc, the like red, blue, green arc in the manga, is to collect all of the gym badges so that they can use this device to merge Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno into this thing, which they do. And it's like, it's silly, but it's...
Yeah, see, it's
cool.
That's not in my Pokemon canon. Like, in my head, I don't think Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno can fuse into a badass bird. Unless they do it in the games.
It's not something inherent to them. It's just something that they do with this science shit, but whatever. I don't know.
Scientists doing science shit and hood rat fangs. Sorry, go on.
More hood rat shit. They do create Mewtwo, and they create him throughout the course of the thing. Like Blaine is a member of Team Rocket, along with a couple other gym leaders, which is cool. So, like...
Yeah, what is it? Lieutenant Surge, Koga, and Sabrina, right?
Yeah, and Blame It First. He creates Mewtwo using Mew's DNA and his own, which is pretty weird, but, like... yeah, I don't know. So, but it adds, like, a cool level, like...
Yeah, I'm going to just tactfully avoid the obvious jokes of what he was doing in the laboratory, but...
Oh, dear God. Where was I even going with that? So, yeah, they do a bit more on the science end in the manga, which I always thought was interesting. Other than that, the sort of events for the first games are similar. There's still the raid on Silph. There's still the Pokemon Tower stuff. But it's really cool to think that, like, in the manga, they sort of explore the aspect of Team Rocket's grasp. Like, it's not just Giovanni. It's Giovanni and, like, 4 other of these gym leaders.
Yeah.
And they are on just a much greater scale than you even think. Like, they use the SS and to transport all of their, like, black market Pokemon and shit.
I like that. That's cool. Mm-hmm. It makes sense, too, to present the gym leaders in a light that, like, they're not all just these, like, people that work for the gyms. You fight them in row, and, like, some of them are cool, some of them are hard asses, some of them are fucking straight up evil. Like, it's, yeah, they're characters, and treat them like that instead of just beat these gym leaders in order. Like, yeah, that's cool.
It's a cool thing, too, about the gym leaders having that extra character is they develop, too. So at the end of the first arc, they're not necessarily bad guys anymore. When Team Rocket is disbanded that first time, they sort of just go back to being gym leaders, which is interesting. Then, let's see, what happens? Giovanni takes off. We get the really awesome events of Gold and Silver. I don't remember if this happened in the game because I never played Crystal. I only played Gold and Silver. But there's the Masked Man, and I'm pretty sure he's in Crystal as the leader of Team Rocket. And I think he's after Suicune as well. He sort of gathers up the stragglers of Team Rocket, so it gives more of a reason for them to be waiting around at this point, and he uses them for his own quest, which is, like, really sad when you get to it. Spoiler alert, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert goes without saying.
Okay, good. So, if you do read the manga, I encourage you to do it. I don't know. Don't listen right now. It turns out the new leader of Team Rocket is Price, which is that little old man in the wheelchair ice trainer in Gold and Silver. Yeah. And the whole reason he did all of this was to use Celebi to travel through time to rescue the parents of this, like, baby Lapras. And it's all because he's messed up because his parents died when he was younger. It's crazy. It's this whole crazy thing.
So he does all this hood rat shit just to save a couple Lapras.
Which are the same, it's almost the same events as what happens in the games, only he also, like, years ago, kidnapped a bunch of children in order to, like, raise them to be, like, he saw something in them. He wanted to make them special trainers or something. I assume to accomplish this same goal, but I don't remember anymore. So essentially the manga kind of covers the game similarly, only it adds that extra level of, like, Price and the kids being kidnapped and shit. That's all.
Yeah, it doesn't get that dark. Just a bunch of kids get kidnapped and Lapra's parents die.
Aw,
does he at least save the parents?
Of the Lapras?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He accomplishes that. Then, after that, we start getting into, like, the really cool shit in the manga, like, in the manga's Team Rocket, which, once we go back to Fire Red and Leaf Green, which the manga works into continuity, so, like, green, red, blue, green, gold, silver, the other stuff that happens, like Ruby and Sapphire, and then they do Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Yeah, whereas in the games, the remakes are just retellings, yeah.
So now we get a lot more on Giovanni. This is when we learn Silver is Giovanni's son. Giovanni is sick. That's, like, part of the reason why he's been in hiding for so long, because he's, like, sick with this with a disease that's going to kill him. It blows up. He uses the Ruby and the Sapphire, which are the orbs for Kyogre and Groudon, or I don't remember how that worked exactly, but...
Yeah, in the games, Team Rocket had sort of a installation in the Sevi Islands looking for the Ruby and Sapphire.
Oh, so in the manga they already have it. They already have
That's
them.
where Red meets the 4 executives and beats their asses.
Oh, okay. In the manga, the 4 executives show up out of nowhere. All of the main trainers get their asses kicked. Giovanni's sick, and he also wants to find his son, Silver, and so they're utilizing Deoxys and the Ruby and the Sapphire to be able to have access to all of Deoxys's forms. And I honestly, for the life of me, can't remember their like root purpose. But that's why I feel like it's more of Giovanni just wanting to be powerful. It's not even so that he can get better. It's just because he's a badass dude and he just wants to do bad shit. But their approach to Team Rocket is just fantastic. They give them a helicarrier, basically. It's incredible.
That's nuts.
Yeah, they they essentially have a helicarrier, which they try to crash into what city? I think it's Vermilion.
They have so much money that they have a helicarrier, and they're like, "Word, let's fucking crash it into a city."
I think one of the dudes, one of those characters they introduce as Team Rocket execs in this, he gets jealous because he assumes Giovanni is going to have Silver take over.
Okay.
So he sabotages their rocket helicarrier. That's what all causes that. But in this, throughout the course of it, like, Silver denounces his dad and all this shit, and Giovanni's just like, whatever, man. And then at the end of Fire Red and Leaf Green, the Pokédex holders, or you would call them like the actual main trainers, I guess, they all get petrified by Deoxys. That's all irrelevant. Read the manga. Then we don't really see much from like Team Rocket until we get to the Heart Gold Soul Silver manga. Those 4 execs you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah, they're looking for Arceus, right?
Yeah, they want Arceus so that they can bring back Giovanni because he disappeared again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're like so devoted that
they're like, we will summon the creator of the universe itself
just to have our dude back.
Right.
And there's a brief moment through this entire like altercation, basically, where you think maybe Giovanni has a change of heart because he does show up. And in summoning Arceus, they accidentally gave way to him creating like Palkia and Dialga and Giratina, which is like super dangerous. In the manga, these Pokemon are wild and super dangerous, obviously. But he stops his execs in order to be able to like help fight the creation trio, as they're referred to. And he saves his son and all of this stuff. And you think like, oh cool, Giovanni's gonna be good after this. Like he's gonna be done with all this shit. Nope. They managed to heal his like disease that he had before. And he's like, okay, well, since I'm better, I'm going to go back and lead Team Rocket again. Like, I'll see ya.
Sweet. All that turn into new Leaf stuff, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, I thought I was going to die, so I felt pretty bad about shit, but really...
Can we just forget about that whole... I was in a bad place.
I got to do what I got to do. Silver, are you sure you don't want to come with me? Silver says, nah, but look, you're my pops, and that's fine. And that's it. That's like the last we hear of any of it.
You're my pops, and that's fine. Silver.
I acknowledge you now. But all that to say, it's just a very interesting approach to like Giovanni in that he is a badass dude. That's it. That's all I got. A badass dude who will go to badass measures to do badass things.
Yeah, I think I'm coming out of this podcast with the idea that I also think that he, at least in game canon, in my understanding of the character, not in the manga or anything, if he doesn't believe that he has some type of destiny to achieve this power, he at least has a large group of people believing that.
Right.
And the spiritual significance, the fact that they were trying to unearth God itself, the creator of the universe, in order to bring back this character that's named after a sacred tree who, it's interesting. Thanks for having us do a Team Rocket episode.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah, I fucking love Team Rocket. There's so much more we can cover in the future. There's no reason we can't do a Giovanni episode. There's no reason we can't do a Jesse and James episode. We barely talked about the anime, and I know we hate on it, but it'll get its due as well.
Oh, yeah.
So if you found this on YouTube, please like the video, leave us a comment, leave some feedback. All that shit helps a lot. Subscribe too. This podcast goes up on 2 different YouTubes. There's Shaggy the Shaman and there's Fairpoint Podcast. If you haven't checked that out, please do. That's my weekly podcast. It comes out a lot more often than this one. There's all sorts of episodes you guys would dig. There's like a Rampage episode about the arcade game. We just did a Game Boy episode. It's pretty sweet. If you want to know when more Silph radios are coming out, you can find us on Facebook.
Shout out to my homies in the... Oh, I'm just kidding.
Special thanks to Bulbapedia, Cerebi.net, all those sites that we use to get this information. We couldn't do this without them. They're wonderful resources for knowledge, and we are thankful for their contribution.
Bless these sites. Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again.
Thanks for listening. I'm Nathan Kappesser.
And I'm Justin Addison.
Keep an eye on secretroommultimedia.com. Talk to you next time.